Sam opened his eyes slowly, expecting to see the plain white ceiling of his small room. Instead, the first thing he saw was a pair of glowing blue eyes staring directly into his own. He froze, his breath caught in his throat. For a moment he thought he was still dreaming, but then he realized the weight pressing down on his chest. Someone was lying on top of him. It was his new roommate. Her name was Lyra. She had only moved in 2 days ago, carrying nothing but a small bag and a calm smile. Sam remembered thinking she was unusual, though he could not explain why. Now, staring at her close face, he understood. Her eyes were not normal human eyes. They glowed faintly like crystals under light. Her skin seemed smoother than glass, pale with a faint shimmer like starlight. Sam panicked and tried to sit up, but Lyra pressed a hand against his shoulder. She whispered quickly, "Do not move. Something is wrong." Her voice was soft but serious. Sam felt his heart race. He wanted to ask her what she meant, but he stayed still. The silence in the room was heavy. He noticed how her body was tense, her head slightly tilted as if she was listening to something he could not hear. After a moment, Lyra finally moved. She sat back, sliding off him, and placed her feet on the floor. She looked toward the window where the curtains were still closed. "It passed," she said quietly. Sam sat up, confused. "What passed? And why were you on top of me?" Lyra turned to him, her glowing eyes calm again. "I thought danger was near." "My instincts took over. I reacted without thinking. It is something my people do when we feel a threat." Sam blinked. He was still half asleep, and none of this made sense. "Your people?" he asked. For a long moment, Lyra said nothing. Then she gave a small sigh and nodded. "I should have told you sooner. I am not from here. Not from your Earth." Sam stared at her, mouth open. "You mean, you're an alien?" Lyra tilted her head. "That is your word for it, yes." Sam laughed nervously, hoping she was joking. But her serious expression never changed. He looked again at her glowing eyes, at the faint shimmer of her skin. He realized she was telling the truth. He rubbed his face with his hands. "This is crazy. You are telling me my roommate is an alien princess or something?" Lyra gave him a small smile, though it was sad. "Yes, I am a princess, or I was. My home is far from here, in a place you cannot see with your sky tools. I had to leave because others hunt me. They want what I carry. They want to end my line. I came here because your world is quiet, hidden from their eyes. At least I hoped it was." Sam felt dizzy. He had watched many science fiction shows, but hearing this in real life was overwhelming. "So last night, what happened? Why did you think there was danger?" Lyra looked at the window again. "I felt a trace of energy, the kind used by those who chase me. It was faint, but it was near. I reacted. I placed myself close to you because my instincts told me to shield myself with another presence. I am sorry if it startled you." Sam shook his head. Startled is one word for it. He took a deep breath and tried to calm down. "So you came here to hide. And now someone might have found you?" Lyra nodded. "It is possible." The room was silent for a moment. Sam stared at her, trying to understand. She did not look dangerous. She looked calm, almost gentle. Yet everything about her story sounded like the start of something much larger than his simple life. Finally, Sam spoke again. "Why tell me now? You could have kept this secret." "Because you woke up and saw me for what I am," Lyra said softly. "I cannot hide it from you anymore. And you may be in danger too because of me." Sam frowned. "Danger? Me? I'm just a student." "I barely pass my exams. I don't fight aliens." Lyra studied him for a moment. "You are human. That already makes you different from those who hunt me. They see your kind as weak. But I have read your history. I know your people can surprise those who underestimate them." "You are not as weak as they think." Sam laughed again, though there was no humor in it. "You think I can do something if your hunters come here? I can barely fix the toaster." But deep inside, he felt something stir. The way she looked at him, with quiet faith as if she truly believed he could be useful, made him feel different. Lyra stood up and walked to the window. She pulled the curtain slightly and looked outside. The morning sun was rising, painting the sky with gold. She spoke without turning back. "I did not mean to drag you into this. If you wish, you can walk away. Forget I said anything. I can handle myself." Sam sat in silence, staring at her back. Part of him wanted to do exactly that, to pretend nothing was wrong, to go back to his simple life. But another part of him, the stronger part, knew he could not. Not after what he had seen. Finally, he stood up and joined her by the window. If there's danger, then I want to know. I don't want to wake up one day and find out my roommate vanished or worse. You can trust me. Lyra turned to him slowly. Her glowing eyes studied his face, searching for truth. Then she nodded. Very well. From this day, you know who I am. But keep it hidden. If others learn, they will come faster. Sam gave a small nod. His heart was still racing, but a strange excitement filled him. His life had always been ordinary. Now, it was anything but. The rest of the morning passed quietly, though the weight of their new truth hung in the air. Lyra explained small things about her world. She spoke of tall crystal towers, skies filled with silver birds that were not birds, and oceans that glowed under twin moons. Sam listened with wide eyes, trying to picture it all. It sounded beautiful but also sad because she could not return. When she described her pursuers, her tone grew darker. They were ruthless, she said. They hunted across stars, never giving mercy. They feared her because of what she represented. She carried not only royal blood but also knowledge hidden inside her that could change the balance of power. Sam could not understand all of it, but he understood enough. Lyra was important and dangerous people wanted her gone. That night, as Sam lay in bed, he thought about how his life had changed in a single morning. 2 days ago, he was just worried about classes and bills. Now he shared a home with a real alien princess hiding from enemies across the galaxy. He did not know what tomorrow would bring, but he knew one thing clearly. He was part of this now, and deep down he was ready. Sam tried to return to his normal routine the next day, but nothing felt normal anymore. He went to the academy, attended his classes, and took notes. Yet his mind kept drifting back to the morning when Lyra had revealed her truth. Every time he closed his eyes, he saw those glowing blue eyes, calm but filled with something heavy. Responsibility, maybe sorrow. When class ended, his friend Tom asked if he wanted to grab lunch, but Sam quickly made an excuse and hurried home. He could not focus on anything except the strange situation waiting for him at the apartment. When he stepped inside, the room was quiet. Lyra was sitting at the small table with a notebook open in front of her. She was writing in neat lines, though the symbols on the page were unlike anything Sam had seen before. They looked like streams of light drawn into shapes, twisting and bending in ways that felt alive. Lyra looked up when he entered. Her expression softened, though her eyes still carried that calm, unreadable glow. You came back early. Sam placed his bag on the chair. Yeah, I couldn't focus in class. I kept thinking about what you told me. I have questions. Too many questions. Lyra closed the notebook and folded her hands. Then ask. Sam hesitated before sitting across from her. You said you're a princess. What does that mean exactly? Princess of what? Lyra's gaze lowered for a moment before meeting his eyes again. I was born on a world called Saria. My family ruled there for generations, not with force, but with guidance. Our people value knowledge above all else. We guard archives of wisdom gathered over centuries, but others desire that knowledge for war. They want to twist it into weapons. Sam leaned forward. And those are the ones chasing you? Yes. They call themselves the Veyran. They believe in control through fear. They destroyed cities, conquered worlds, and now they want my family's knowledge to make their power complete. I was taken away before they could capture me. My guardians sacrificed themselves to send me here. Sam swallowed hard. He could hear the weight in her voice, the quiet pain hidden behind her calm tone. So you've been running ever since? Lyra nodded. Earth is far from their usual paths. I thought it safe, but now I am not sure. Sam leaned back, rubbing the back of his neck. His life had been simple until now, but listening to her story made him realize just how small his problems were compared to hers. Still, something bothered him. Why Earth? Out of all the places in the galaxy, why here? Lyra gave a faint smile. Because humans are overlooked. Your people are not yet known widely among the stars. The Veyran do not see this planet as important. That made it the perfect place to hide. Sam frowned. So we're basically invisible to them. Yes, Lyra said softly. But invisibility can vanish if someone shines a light too bright. Sam thought about that, uneasy. And last night when you felt that energy, Do you think it was them? I cannot be certain, Lyra replied. It was faint. Perhaps a scout. Perhaps something else. But it was not natural to this world. That much I know. Silence hung between them. Sam tapped his fingers on the table nervously. What happens if they find you here? They will not just take me, Lyra said quietly. They will destroy anything around me. They leave no witnesses. Sam froze. For a moment, fear gripped him. His quiet life was suddenly at risk simply because of who his roommate was. But when he looked at Lyra, sitting calmly yet clearly burdened, something stronger than fear rose inside him. He could not abandon her. You can't fight them alone, Sam said firmly. If they come, I'll help you. Somehow. Lyra tilted her head, studying him. You are brave to say this, but bravery is not always enough. Sam gave a nervous laugh. Yeah, well, I don't have much else, but I'm not going to sit back and do nothing. Lyra's lips curved into the smallest smile. Perhaps humans are more than I expected. The rest of the evening passed with stories. Lyra told him more about her world, about the floating gardens of Seria, where flowers glowed like lanterns at night, and the great crystal archives where knowledge was stored in living light. Sam listened with wide eyes, amazed by every detail. He had always dreamed of seeing other worlds, and now one sat across from him, sharing pieces of it like secrets. But not everything she told was beautiful. She spoke of the Varen ships blotting, out skies of burning fields, of voices silenced by conquest. Sam could see the shadows in her eyes when she remembered. Later that night, Sam went to bed but could not sleep. He stared at the ceiling, thinking of everything she had said. He thought about the strange energy she had felt, about the possibility of enemies watching them even now. The idea made his chest tighten. Suddenly, a faint sound broke the silence. Sam sat up quickly. It was coming from outside, the soft hum of something mechanical. He pulled the curtain back slightly and looked out the window. At first he saw nothing, but then he noticed a figure across the street standing unnaturally still. The person's shape was faint under the streetlight, but their head turned slowly, scanning the building. Sam's stomach dropped. He rushed to Lyra's room and knocked. She opened the door almost immediately, already awake, her eyes glowing brighter than usual. You saw it too, she whispered. Sam nodded quickly. There's someone out there watching. Lyra grabbed the small bag she always kept near her. She opened it and pulled out a thin device shaped like a silver disc. She held it in her palm, and it lit up with a faint blue glow. She pointed it toward the window and the disc vibrated softly. It is a scanner, she said quietly. Not human. They are searching for me. Sam felt his chest tighten again. What do we do? Lyra placed the device back in her bag and looked at him firmly. We stay quiet. We make no sudden moves. If they are only scouting, they may not know exactly where I am, but we must be careful. Sam nodded, though fear clawed at him. He had never faced anything like this. He wanted to run, to hide, but he forced himself to stay calm. Lyra was depending on him, and somehow that gave him strength. They waited by the window watching. The figure outside stood for a while, then slowly walked down the street until it vanished into the shadows. The hum faded. Sam finally let out a shaky breath. That was too close. Lyra's expression was serious. It means they are closer than I thought. We do not have much time. Sam swallowed hard but nodded. Then we'll be ready, whatever it takes. For the first time, Lyra looked at him with something beyond calm, something like trust. She gave a small nod. Very well. From now on, you are not just my roommate. You are my ally. Those words struck something deep in Sam. He was scared, yes, but also strangely proud. His ordinary life had been swept away, replaced by something dangerous and unbelievable. Yet sitting there with Lyra in the quiet room, he felt a strange certainty. The shadows were growing, but they would face them together. Sam woke up the next morning with a heavy feeling in his chest. He had not slept well. Every time he closed his eyes, he saw the figure from last night standing under the streetlight, The way it moved, the way it seemed to scan the building had carved itself into his mind. He rubbed his face and sat up. The apartment was quiet. He walked to the kitchen and there was Lyra, already awake, already watching the window with calm but alert eyes. She had not slept either. Her silver disc lay on the table, glowing faintly as if it had been running all night. "They are still near," Lyra said without looking at him. Sam's stomach dropped. "You mean the one from last night?" "Not just one," Lyra said softly. "There are at least 3. They move carefully, but I can sense their presence. They are waiting, searching." Sam grabbed a chair and sat across from her. His hands trembled slightly, but he tried to steady them. "So they know you're here." "Not fully," Lyra said. "If they knew exactly, we would not be sitting here now. But they are close enough that we must act carefully." "We cannot be passive anymore," Sam nodded. Fear tried to claw its way into him, but another feeling pushed back. Responsibility. He remembered Lyra's words last night. "From now on, you are not just my roommate. You are my ally." Those words still burned in him, and he refused to step back now. "What can we do?" Sam asked. "If they come, we need to be ready. I don't know alien weapons, but maybe there's something we can prepare." For the first time that morning, Lyra's expression softened slightly. "You think like a fighter," Sam gave a weak laugh. "I think like a scared guy who doesn't want to get caught off guard." Lyra opened her bag again and pulled out a second small device. It looked like a silver rod, smooth and plain. She pressed her thumb on it and it lit up with faint blue lines. "This is a barrier emitter. It is meant to shield for a short time against energy weapons. But it is limited. If many strike at once, it will break." Sam leaned forward, curious. "Can it protect the whole apartment?" "Only a small space. Perhaps this room if we stay close." Sam frowned. "So, not enough if they attack full force." "Not enough," Lyra agreed. "But enough to buy time." Sam thought about that. He looked around the small apartment, scanning every corner, every piece of furniture. Suddenly, an idea came to him. "What if we use both your tech and my stuff? Like, we set traps. Not big ones, but things to slow them down. You said they underestimate humans, right? Then let's use that." Lyra tilted her head, clearly considering. "Traps?" Sam stood up, excitement starting to push away his fear. "Yeah. Look, I don't have advanced weapons, but I know how to use what we have. Chairs, wires, tools. Stuff they won't expect. If we make them trip, delay them, confuse them, it gives your shield and your skills more time to work." For a moment, Lyra just studied him. Then, slowly, she gave a small nod. "Your thinking is simple but clever. Perhaps it could work." Sam smiled faintly. "Simple and clever. That's me." They spent the afternoon planning. Sam dug through drawers, boxes, and the closet for anything useful. He found duct tape, old wires, a hammer, and even a can of paint he had never used. Together, he and Lyra began turning the small apartment into something else entirely. A defensive space. Lyra placed the barrier emitter near the center of the living room, where it could cover them if things got too intense. Sam tied wires low to the floor where an intruder might trip. He balanced a chair near the hallway door so it would fall loudly if disturbed, acting as both a trap and an alarm. At one point, Lyra watched him carefully as he worked with the paint can. "What is that for?" she asked. Sam grinned. "If they come through the door, this will spill all over them. Messy, slippery, distracting. Not high-tech, but I bet they won't like it." Lyra blinked, then gave a quiet laugh. It was the first time Sam had heard her laugh. "You truly are unpredictable." Sam looked at her, surprised by the sound. For a moment, despite the danger, he felt lighter. By evening, the apartment looked strange, half like a home, half like a maze of improvised defenses. Sam wiped sweat from his forehead. "Okay, maybe it's not perfect, but at least it's something." Lyra nodded. "It is more than I expected. Humans adapt quickly. That may be your strongest skill." Sam sat down heavily on the couch. "I just hope we don't actually have to use any of this." But deep down, he knew they would. That night, Sam and Lyra took turns staying awake. Sam's shift came in the early hours of morning. He sat by the window watching the street outside. The world looked quiet. The streetlights hummed softly. Cars passed now and then, their headlights slicing through the dark. For a while, he almost convinced himself everything was fine. Then he saw it. A flicker of movement across the street. Not human, too smooth, too deliberate. He narrowed his eyes, his heart pounding. There were 2 figures this time, both moving in sync, scanning with strange devices in their hands. They wore dark suits that shimmered faintly as if bending light. Sam's throat went dry. He forced himself to stay calm. He didn't wake Lyra yet. Instead, he watched carefully as the two figures moved closer to the building. They paused, their heads tilting, then pointed their devices toward the apartment. Sam's chest tightened. They were scanning. He stood quickly and went to Lyra's room. He shook her gently. "They're here," he whispered. Her eyes opened at once, glowing brighter in the dim light. She sat up, already alert. "How many?" "2 across the street." "They're scanning." Lyra stood, grabbing her bag. She pulled out the silver rod and activated the barrier emitter, placing it near the living room table. The blue glow spread faintly, invisible unless viewed from the side. "They will come closer soon," Lyra said. Sam's hands shook, but he clenched them into fists. "Then we're ready." They waited in silence, the tension thick in the air. Every creak of the building, every hum of the fridge made Sam's nerves jump. Then with a sudden thud, the chair trap in the hallway fell. The sound echoed through the apartment. Sam flinched. "They're inside," he whispered. Lyra's eyes glowed fiercely. She held up her hand and a small light pulsed from her palm, ready to strike. Sam gripped the hammer he had taken from the toolbox. His heart raced, but his feet held firm. The door slowly pushed open. A tall figure stepped through, its shimmering suit bending the light. Another followed right behind. They moved with inhuman grace, their heads turning toward Sam and Lyra. The strange devices in their hands glowed faintly. For a heartbeat, everything was still. Then the first figure stepped forward. Sam's trap triggered. The paint can swung from the top of the doorframe and burst across the intruder, covering the shimmering suit in thick white paint. The alien staggered back, clearly unprepared for the messy human trick. Sam almost laughed from shock, but there was no time. The second intruder raised its device, firing a beam of red light. Lyra raised her hand and a shield of glowing energy flared, blocking the beam just in time. The air shook from the impact. Sam swung his hammer at the wire he had set up earlier, releasing a second trap. A stack of heavy books tumbled from the shelf onto the intruder's legs, slowing it. For the first time, Sam saw something that looked like hesitation in the way they moved. The intruders had expected an easy capture. Instead, they found chaos. Lyra's eyes blazed as she released her own energy strike. A pulse of blue light shot from her palm, knocking one of the figures back into the wall. Sam's heart pounded. They were actually holding their ground. But deep inside, he knew this was only the beginning. The apartment was shaking with noise. Sparks burned in the air where beams of red energy had struck the walls. The intruders were fast and strong, their strange suits bending light around their bodies. But Sam and Lyra had not fallen yet. Sam's chest was tight, his breath heavy, but his grip on the hammer was firm. Across from him, Lyra stood tall, her glowing eyes shining brighter than ever. The faint shield shimmered around them, blocking another beam just before it could hit. The first intruder, covered in white paint from Sam's trap, stumbled as it tried to wipe its visor clear. The second raised its device again, but Sam shouted and kicked the fallen chair toward it. The chair struck its legs, buying a moment of time. "Move," Lyra ordered, her voice sharp but steady. Sam darted to the side as Lyra raised her hand. A burst of blue light shot out, striking the second intruder directly in the chest. It staggered backward into the wall, leaving a scorch mark on the plaster. Sam's heart leapt. They were fighting back. They were surviving. But then the first intruder roared in frustration, its voice mechanical and strange. It leapt forward faster than Sam expected. The hammer slipped in his sweaty hands, but he swung wildly. The hammer connected with the intruder's arm, making a dull crack. The alien reeled, not from pain but from surprise. Sam's breath caught. He had actually landed a blow. Lyra seized the chance. She pressed her palm to the silver rod on the table, and the barrier emitter pulsed brighter, expanding the shield. The intruder's energy beam splashed harmlessly against it. For a moment, the small apartment glowed with blue light, a bubble of safety against the storm. But the emitter hummed louder and louder. Lyra frowned. "It will not hold much longer." Sam gritted his teeth. "Then we take this outside. We can't stay trapped in here." Lyra looked at him, eyes wide with surprise. Then she nodded. "Yes, out now." She moved first, pushing open the door to the stairwell. Sam followed quickly. The intruders roared again, crashing through the apartment behind them. They rushed down the stairs, their footsteps echoing. The early morning air outside hit Sam's face as they burst into the courtyard of the apartment block. The wide space between buildings stretched open, lit by pale streetlights and the faint glow of dawn. Sam stopped, chest heaving, and turned. The intruders emerged seconds later, stepping into the courtyard like hunters closing on prey. Their strange suits shimmered again, bending light until their forms looked ghostly. Lyra raised her hand, blue energy crackling around her fingers. Sam tightened his grip on the hammer, standing at her side. The intruders spread out, one circling to the left, the other to the right. Their mechanical voices hissed in a language Sam could not understand. "They want to flank us," Lyra murmured. Sam nodded, his throat dry. "Then we don't let them." The first intruder charged. Lyra stepped forward, throwing out a wave of blue light. The energy struck the ground in front of the alien, creating a shockwave that made the pavement crack. The intruder stumbled but kept coming. Sam rushed in from the side, swinging his hammer again. The blow glanced off the alien's shoulder, but it was enough to throw it off balance. Lyra seized the moment and struck it with another burst of light. The alien crashed to the ground, sparks flickering from its suit. The second intruder fired a beam at Sam. He dove behind a concrete planter just in time. The blast scorched the edge, leaving it smoking. His heart raced, but he forced himself to think. He spotted a loose pipe lying near the trash bins. He grabbed it quickly, tossing aside the hammer. The intruder advanced, its strange weapon glowing. Sam gripped the pipe tightly, then swung it at the trash bins. The loud crash echoed through the courtyard, startling the intruder just enough for Lyra to unleash a direct strike. The blue energy slammed into the alien's chest, sending it reeling. Sam grinned, despite the fear rushing through him. "See? Human tricks work." Lyra's lips curved in the faintest smile. "Yes, very much, but the fight was far from over." The first intruder rose again, its suit sparking but still active. The second steadied itself, weapons glowing brighter. They regrouped, moving in sync, more cautious now. Lyra's shield flickered faintly. She frowned. "The emitter is weakening. We must finish this quickly." Sam nodded. He looked around the courtyard, scanning for anything else they could use. His eyes landed on the tall lamppost at the corner. A plan sparked in his mind. "Lyra," he whispered quickly, "can you hit that lamppost with your energy?" She glanced at it, then at him. "Yes, why?" "Do it when I say," Sam said firmly. Before Lyra could ask, Sam rushed toward the intruders. His heart pounded, his legs burned, but he kept running. He shouted loudly, waving the pipe in his hands. The intruders turned toward him, weapons glowing, their focus entirely on him. "Now!" Sam yelled. Lyra raised her hand and fired. The blast struck the lamppost, sending a shower of sparks raining down. The sudden flash of light blinded the intruders just as they aimed at Sam. Their beams went wide, striking the pavement instead. Sam swung the pipe with all his strength, slamming it into the first intruder's weapon. The device flew from its hand, clattering across the ground. Lyra followed up with a focused blast that struck the second intruder square in the chest. The suit flickered wildly, then went dark as the alien collapsed to the ground. The first intruder roared again, lunging at Sam with bare hands. Sam stumbled back, fear surging. He raised the pipe to block, but the alien's strength was too much. The pipe bent and Sam fell hard to the ground. The alien loomed over him, reaching down. Sam froze, unable to move. Then blue light blazed across the courtyard. Lyra unleashed her strongest strike yet, hitting the intruder from behind. The blast sent it flying forward, landing only inches from Sam. The alien's suit sparked and went still. Silence filled the courtyard. Sam lay on the ground, chest heaving, staring at the fallen figures. His whole body shook, but he was alive. Slowly he pushed himself up. Lyra walked toward him, her glowing eyes softer now. She reached out a hand and helped him stand. "You are reckless," she said quietly. "But you are also brave." Sam gave a weak laugh. "Reckless and brave. Story of my life." Together they looked at the two fallen intruders. Their suits were damaged, their weapons scattered. For now the danger was over. But Lyra's face remained serious. "This was only a small group," she said softly. "Scouts, the real force will come soon." Sam swallowed hard but nodded. "Then we'll be ready. We beat these two. We can beat more." Lyra studied him, then gave a small nod. "Yes. Together." The first rays of sunlight broke over the buildings, painting the courtyard in gold. Sam stood beside Lyra, exhausted but unbroken. For the first time, he realized that this was no longer just her fight. It was theirs, and he was ready to face whatever came next. After the fight in the courtyard, Sam and Lyra returned to the apartment. Both were exhausted, yet the air was thick with a quiet determination. The intruders had been defeated, but their victory was only temporary. Lyra had said it herself. The scouts were just the beginning. Sam knew that they could not afford to relax. Lyra began inspecting her devices. The barrier emitter hummed softly on the table, flickering but still functional. She checked the silver rod and other small gadgets she always carried. Her hands moved quickly and efficiently, a mixture of experience and instinct guiding her. Sam watched, realizing how much of a different world she came from. Her calmness, her focus, and her control of energy were nothing like what he had ever seen. "Sam," she said suddenly, turning to him, "we need to plan. They will return, and next time there may be more of them." Sam nodded. "I know, I've been thinking. We need a way to defend ourselves outside the apartment, too. We can't stay trapped here waiting." Lyra raised an eyebrow. "Do you have a plan?" "I think so," Sam said. He grabbed a map of the surrounding streets from the desk. "We know the scouts came from the north. There are alleys and open areas. If we can predict their approach, we can prepare traps, set ambush points, and use your powers strategically." Lyra studied the map with him. "You think like a general," Sam shrugged. "Or like someone who got lucky last time." Lyra smiled faintly. "Perhaps both." They worked for hours, marking positions where they could hide, noting areas where Sam could use everyday items as improvised defenses. Lyra showed him how to enhance them slightly with her energy. Even a small object like a trash can lid could become a shield or a projectile. Sam marveled at how ordinary things could turn deadly in clever hands. By late evening, their preparations were complete. Sam leaned back, exhausted but satisfied. "I think we're ready," he said. "At least as ready as we can be." Lyra nodded. "Ready is not enough. We must also trust each other." "That is the true strength." Sam looked at her, realizing the meaning behind her words. They had already survived an attack together. They had adapted, planned, and fought side by side. Trust had been built not with words but with action. Night fell, but sleep was a distant thought for both. They took turns keeping watch. Sam learned to notice subtle changes in the environment. Lights moving differently, shadows that lingered too long, sounds that were out of place. Lyra taught him to sense energy in the air, a faint vibration that told her when someone approached. Hours passed, and they spoke quietly to pass the time. Lyra told Sam more about her childhood, about growing up in the floating cities of Syria, learning not only to govern but to protect. She described festivals of light where the entire city shimmered with colors, and nights under twin moons where the oceans glowed. Sam listened, captivated, feeling as if he had traveled to another world without leaving his apartment. "You have a gift," Sam said softly. "Even in hiding you shine. It's inspiring." Lyra looked at him, her eyes glowing faintly in the darkness. "You see more than you know, Sam. Humans often underestimate themselves. You are brave, clever, and adaptable. That is why I trust you." Sam felt a warmth in his chest he had never felt before. To hear such praise from someone so extraordinary made him feel capable, important. For the first time, he did not feel small in a vast, dangerous universe. Suddenly, a soft hum filled the air. Sam's ears pricked up. Lyra stiffened instantly. "They are back," she whispered. Sam jumped to his feet. "How many?" Lyra pressed her hand to the silver rod, which glowed immediately. "I cannot be sure. Perhaps more than last time. We need to move quickly." They stepped outside into the courtyard. The air was cool, the faint glow of streetlights casting long shadows. At first Sam saw nothing, but then figures emerged from the alleyways, moving silently, efficiently. More than 4 this time, and each taller, stronger, faster than the last. Lyra stepped beside Sam. "Stay close. Follow my lead," Sam nodded. His heart pounded, but he felt steady. This was not panic. It was focus, determination, courage he had never known he possessed. The intruders moved in formation, surrounding them from 3 directions. Sam and Lyra took positions behind barricades they had placed earlier. Sam gripped his makeshift weapons, a metal pipe, a wooden plank, and a few small devices he had learned to use. Lyra raised her hands, glowing blue, ready to strike. The first clash came quickly. One intruder leapt forward, firing a beam of energy at Sam. He dodged, rolling behind a concrete planter, then swung the pipe at the alien's leg. The intruder staggered, surprised by human unpredictability. Lyra unleashed a wave of blue light, striking another intruder who had tried to flank them. The force sent it sprawling backward into a wall. Sparks flew as the suit cracked slightly under her power. Sam's mind raced. Every move he made was precise, careful, yet bold. He combined his traps with Lyra's energy attacks, improvising as the fight evolved. They moved in sync, anticipating each other without needing to speak. An intruder fired a sweeping beam across the courtyard. Sam grabbed a metal trash can lid and threw it, reflecting the beam away, protecting Lyra. She glanced at him, a faint smile breaking through the tension. "You learn fast," she said. "I have a good teacher," Sam replied, swinging the pipe at another alien who had stumbled near him. The battle raged on, sparks flying, dust rising from the courtyard. Sam and Lyra were fast, coordinated, clever, but they were outnumbered and each new intruder was stronger than the last. Then Sam saw an opening. One of the intruders was distracted by a trap he had set earlier. He motioned to Lyra. She understood immediately. They struck together, Sam with his improvised weapon, Lyra with a precise blast of energy. The intruder fell, and for the first time they saw a pause in the enemy's advance. Sam felt a rush of hope. They could do this. They could win. The final intruder stepped forward, larger than the others, glowing with a faint red aura. It had clearly been leading the scouts. Lyra's expression hardened. "This one is different. Focus, Sam." Sam nodded, gripping the pipe tightly. "Let's finish this." The red aura intruder fired a massive beam. Lyra blocked it with her shield, but the force pushed her back. Sam leapt forward, swinging the pipe at the alien's leg, causing it to stumble. Lyra followed with a focused blast of blue light, striking the intruder's chest. The combined attack was enough to topple it. Silence fell over the courtyard. The intruders lay scattered, sparks flickering from damaged suits. Sam and Lyra stood, breathing heavily but victorious. Lyra turned to Sam. "You were remarkable," she said, her glowing eyes soft now. "Without your courage, we might not have survived." Sam shook his head, smiling weakly. "I just did what needed to be done. You taught me how." For a long moment, they simply stood there, watching the first rays of sunlight creep over the buildings. The fight was over, for now, but the bond between them had solidified. They were no longer just roommate and alien princess. They were allies, equals, and friends. Lyra placed a hand on Sam's shoulder. "Your people have something powerful inside them. Strength, loyalty, creativity. That is why I chose to trust you. That is why you will survive." Sam felt a warmth inside that he had never felt before. He had been an ordinary student living a quiet life. Now he was part of something greater. Together, human and alien, they had faced danger and survived. Together, they would face whatever came next. The morning light bathed the courtyard in gold. Sam looked at Lyra and smiled. "So, what now?" Lyra's eyes sparkled with determination. "Now we prepare. And we keep moving forward. The galaxy is vast and we are only at the beginning of our journey." Sam nodded. "Then let's face it together." And with that, human and alien walked side by side, ready to meet the future, stronger, wiser, and united.